Hi. Thank you to Boog City and Palo Javier for inviting me into your space of poetry and art. My name is Pichchenda Bao. I'm a Cambodian American poet and writer living in New York City. And here are my poems. Thank you for listening. American Inquisition. Where are you really from? My face, made in a country that murdered its memory, is difficult to place. Here, in this land of footnoted atrocities, this field of disposable bodies feeding proxy wars, I've risen out of an unfathomable death toll to be a story that spices up any dinner party. An honest-to-goodness, real-life American dream recurring right before your very eyes. Let me guess. I should know there is not a racist bone in your body. No harm intended. I mean, what proof of harm could I show? Who has spit in my face? Who has stopped me in my tracks? I myself cannot distinguish anyone's features. Not the man who muses over how I know English so well. Not the retail employee who won't pick up the weight of my father's accent. Nor the panhandler who assumes I won't spare $1. Or the people who think I'm the nannies who think so too. I would do them no justice. After all, who can be blamed for being a product of times they will never claim as their own? What else would be reaped from cultivated ignorance but this murky innocence? A boy is just a boy until he is given a gun and a story about who deserves to live and who deserves to kill. This particular order of violence perpetuating itself like a hall of mirrors his mother polishes. Boys are just boys, fattened for the news cycle. Someone circulates a candid picture of a baby-faced boy with a semi-automatic rifle. Someone sweet is saying, somebody probably bullied that soft-bodied boy. Someone sweet is saying, careful how you judge some mother's child. Someone sweet is not saying a thing about his race, or how some mothers give their boys the guns, the ammunition, the resolve. Some mothers give them everything they know. And that sweetness cloaks the judges, the defense attorneys, the fundraisers, who work to convince us that other mothers' sons were never boys anyone should have ever loved to begin with. Boys are just boys, and I am afraid I don't know enough about grief and its endless iterations to raise my boys in this country. They don't always get what they want, and their faces dim with disbelief and the rage of someone who thought the world was limitless, at least for them. They are so little, every single loss a catastrophe. I tell them I love you no matter what, as I take away some small pleasure for their own good. My boys are just boys, like all boys, whose preciousness won't be real until they're gone. This spring, my son is the first to notice the robins have returned. They hop around the abandoned pitcher's mound. He knew them by the orange flush of their breast feathers. So proud of this knowledge, he points them out, one by one, as well as the smooth moon embedded in the ordinary daylight. He finds rocks that are really crystals and rocks that are gravel and unremarkable. These he collects in his pockets, along with sidewalk pennies, broken sticks, acorns, leaves left over from fall. I should be glad. Even in this hard city, he hears the birds sing their own songs. The trees are starting to bud, and he too grows relentlessly in the direction of all we do not know. Tenderness. My son lifts a tissue to his friend's runny nose and holds it in place while she blows. She had exclaimed his name, said, "Tissue," and her voice, his response was immediate. Going to the end table where the tissue box had been, waiting for such a moment, a need. He won't remember this unless I keep telling the story, leading him back to that winter afternoon when his friend needed him and told him so, and he helped without hesitation. Dear memory, this is for me too. Let me, his unexceptional mother, be witness to his whole nature. Let me remember how surprised I was by his tenderness and her audacity, like I had glimpsed into an utterly new world. There is so much I do not know about how we are supposed to live through these callous times. Let us find the way to these children who were not yet 4 and knew to ask for help and knew that what you do when someone needs you is help. And this is my last poem. Thank you so much. The space between 2 points is infinite, but we got married anyway. Leftover flowers on the altar, red strings of blessings around our wrists. You know, I don't love you sometimes. Love for me is not like the steady sun. Sometimes love is a blue whale traversing the abundant oceans, feeding on small things. Sometimes you're the depths where I make my home. Sometimes you're the air that compels me to break the surface. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being here in this wonderful space for art and poetry that is Boog City Festival. Thank you.